Oh, yeah, looking further into this Gospel of Thomas, and just want to go further on my point about how the Gnostic traditions are actually the older one, and the Orthodox is, as Bar Ehrman says, the Proto-Orthodox. And so, inasmuch, I've been looking at a few verses, and all the ones, I was thinking that Matthew, because my theory was that the Matthew and John came later, and the Orthodoxy came later, and so, inasmuch John and Matthew being of the Jewish tradition would put a lot of the old prophecy, especially about Judah, in there. And so, as I mentioned before about eating the fish and how that represents Ezekiel, end of Ezekiel, at the end of John, and the lineage from Matthew and everything. Everything I found from Matthew that would point to Jesus being more so son of David and everything, is actually is seemingly true, because everything that would deny that in any sort of way from Matthew is actually in Luke, the older one, which is also in Thomas, which is is about as old as Mark, probably, at least, and so I wanted to delve a little bit further in, and so I wanted to look at shoot, I don't know how to flip my phone around like this. I used to have just a flip mode. So if you look at this right here, if you look at mankind, and then you look right here, this word Edom, Edom, which is mankind, Edom. Well, that'll be Adam. But if you look at Adam, it's the same letters. Right there, Edom, Adam, the same letters. And so, like, when you look at Acts 15, it says, "So the rest of mankind may see the Lord, and all the Gentiles who call by my name." So it says the rest of mankind will call by Lord, and it said he will possess the remnant of Edom. So the same verse, translated as this Hebrew version, they're saying is dead wrong. This is about mankind. So when you read about Numbers 24, it says Edom shall become a possession, and yet it does say seer, but this is where mankind comes from, where Adam comes from, because Adam was made with red clay, just as Esau was red and David was red, from Seir. So when I talk about inheriting Edom, it's actually talking about inheriting mankind, and that's the Jewish promise that the so-called Messiah, the Antichrist, was supposed to do, is to inherit all the Gentiles. And each one would have, like it says in the Talmud, 2,800 slaves, Gentile slaves for each person of the tribe, so to speak. And when we talked about Genesis 3, we talk about the snake attacking the heel of the woman, or her seed, which is Jesus. But if you think about it, if you look at Jesus' ancestry and stuff, even though it's not his ancestry, it's his legal lineage, like in Matthew, it's not all Israel. And to further hammer that home, Jacob attacked the heel of his brother, just as a snake attacks the heel of Jesus. So the deceiver, Jacob, was attacking mankind, so as it says in Numbers 24, it says he will just tear down the sons of Sheth. Well, Sheth isn't a real word in Hebrew. They had to make it up to make this verse make sense, and it's the only verse that has this made-up word in the whole Bible, which is really Seth, which is all of the good people of mankind in their own story. So it's saying that he should be against mankind in general. So if he's going to be against mankind in general, as it says, I just showed you in Acts 15 where James had put it, as mankind, and it got with Thomas at the end to say the whole world come into existence for James. James the Just, and that's because he was a disbeliever who had a role in the Church of Jerusalem. So all the apostles came to James in the Church of Jerusalem. That was the center point, and the world was just Israel at this point before all the Gentiles came in. So it was for James the whole world came into existence.